So, hey everyone. Yeah, I placed my table here a bit differently here, but it looks better to me now. Write it in the comments if you like it or not. Coming to these computers here, sitting here on my table, I recently bought all of these 3 Macs that are standing here on my table for 40 euros at a flea market. Or you could say I paid 20 euros for this eMac, another 20 euros for this Power Mac G4 here, and the Power Mac G3 that is standing here. To be honest, the seller gave it to me for free. But you have seen it in the title there that there's a catch with these things. The first thing is they're pretty old. The second thing is I don't know if these are working or if they have all of the components inside it that is needed. And the third thing is they're dirty and needs a little bit of a TLC here. So I'm planning in this episode here to restore, it's like a mini series here where I'm going to restore all of these 3 Macs here. And I'm starting with the eMac here. Why? I don't know. Well, I teased in my last video that I'm going to restore this eMac here. I also want to restore this Power Mac G4 and the G3 here. So I would recommend that you subscribe to the channel here so you can see these videos then. But I think that the G3 here is a little bit more complicated because I've looked inside it and there was no processor inside it, which is a little bit bad, getting this up and running. So I'm just starting here in this video to restore this old eMac here. And later in a few videos then the other Macs here. But anyway, let's take a look if this machine is working or not. And we're giving it some special love here. And that we have a nice little eMac here. And later in the video I'll explain to you why this machine exists in the first place. So let's get started. So here you can see the eMac in a close-up shot. I'm using here my iPhone here because it has a macro mode where I can show you how dirty it is actually. It's like a layer of dust on it, some scuff marks and a sticker that has been peeled off. But for 20 euros I'm pretty good with it. The only thing that is if it's working or not. But we're trying that here. But before that I want to look under it if some RAM is inside it. Because I'm guessing it is probably not in there. And my guess was correct. The RAM is missing. Why the heck someone is putting it out? Well, my next guess would be that the hard drive is also missing. But we'll take a look at that after then. And luckily I have some SD RAM here, which should be compatible with this eMac. I just plugged it into the Mac and I plugged it as far in that I can try this Mac then. And well, look at that. The computer works. And it is also booting in a system, which means that there's a hard drive in it. And probably there's also some data left. Okay, I'm not going to sniff around the hard drive here to look at the data here. The only thing that I'm interested in, what type of machine it is actually, and also if the disk tray is loading out. And I have here an 800 MHz eMac with an ATI graphics card, which means this is one from 2003 and the cheaper eMac model. And well, what about the disk drive? And yes, it is going out, which is good. Later I do install the operating system new on there, because who knows what data is on it. But honestly I have to say, I have a lot of computers here from a flea market, and I can say I have 2 computers here where there was actually some pornographic photos on them. So yeah, it is always a good idea to delete your hard drive or just install the operating system on it new. But no matter how, we know that it is working, so we can clean it now. I'm preparing here my solutions that I need here, so yeah, you can see what I'm using here. The first thing I'm using is some glass cleaner. Normally I would use some cleaning wipes, some wet cleaning wipes, but there's nothing here with any keyboard or so I can use the glass cleaner and some paper towels here. But where I would not use a glass cleaner would be on glass. Yes, I know it is glass cleaner, but in my experience there are some ugly streaks in the glass, so I'm not using it. I would recommend a cleaner like this one, like a spiritus cleaner. Or is it called in English? Or do you have a cleaner in the US? But I'm using that here from Germany. Well then, I'm cleaning the eMac here. Okay, most of the dirt is gone. But there are some areas where there are some scuff marks and a permanent marker or something. Well, alcohol would be the solution here. Yes, not that alcohol, I mean this alcohol here. 99.9% isopropyl alcohol. Well, this is something that everyone knows here about Germany. We here in Germany love beer. Well, and I'm pouring down a good chunk of the alcohol on a paper towel here. And you have to use a pretty good force on the parts of the machine here to get it removed. What the alcohol did awards you, that the dirt is gone. And I found many areas where the alcohol is a good solution at that point there. It always amazes me that the dirt is coming off that easily. And then I came to this peeled off sticker here. But I wanted to try something new for me here. When I did the test prints on my Prusa Mark IVs here, I've printed this scraper here out of it. And well, I can try it here. And indeed, it is going off pretty easily. I would suggest you to not use a metal scraper here, but instead use one from plastic. Or like a 3D printed one. And well, the leftover residue I have removed with some alcohol. And now the Mac looks about 90% better now, but at the top there are some 2 scuff marks or something that wouldn't come off with the alcohol. So I used a magic eraser here, and I've rubbed on that so hard, but it was not really coming off there. At the end it did look a little bit better, but I'm giving up here. But after that it's clean. I want to go inside of this machine to also clean a little bit on the inside. I'm going to put the eMac here on a towel here. The main reason behind it is that the front of the machine doesn't scratch up that easily. And to unscrew the machine you have to unscrew the hexagon screws here at the outside. And also remove the door from the RAM there. And then the case comes off. But there's also a small wire there at the power button, so you have to unplug it. So now I've removed the shell from this eMac here. But I'm not going any further than here. Although I am cleaning out the fan at what is at the back here, and also the inside of the shell I'm cleaning out. But I want to warn you. Because this is a CRT monitor and there's quite a high amount of electricity inside it. And I mean, this thing runs on 230 volts here, and in some places it goes even higher than that. And at some places we have like 400 volts or even 1000 volts. And I think we can all agree on that this much voltage can kill somebody. So I'm not planning on going any further than this here. Other than cleaning out the fan at what's at the back here. But this is just a warning. When you are dealing with a CRT monitor like this one or a CRT TV, that there's a high amount of voltage inside it that can pretty much kill you if you're not careful enough. I mean, if you take proper precautions like ESD safety, like wearing rubber and discharging the tube and everything, it is pretty safe, but for me, I'm not really comfortable at working on this CRT, and I'm not doing anything here because it works. But this is just a warning for CRTs that if you are dealing with some CRT and you're not really careful enough, it can kill you. Seriously, yeah? Yeah, so far to my warning here. The main thing that I want to do inside it is some dust clean up here. Especially when I'm looking at the fan there and also at the inside of the shell. Well, I've tried it with my combo cleaner, which is literally a vacuum cleaner but in reverse. But the dust is standing there pretty firmly there. Well, and then I just grabbed a brush and tried if the dust can get loose. And this was pretty easy to do. And the rest I did blew away with my combo cleaner there. And the same thing I also done to the inner shell there. But I did end that with the glass cleaner there. I would love to take apart this part of the shell there to also clean inside there. But the problem is it is glued together with hot glue. Sadly, I don't have a hot glue gun here, so yeah, I have to clean it as possible from the outside. But for that I have put together the machine as far as I can and then tried it with a brush on the outside. But sadly I'm not able to go pretty far in it, but it does look better than before. And then the eMac here is done. The only thing that is missing there is an operating system on it, but before that I'm going to remove the PRAM battery here. I always removed those batteries from my older Macs here, because there's the possibility that it's leaking out on the motherboard and then damages the motherboard. And well, the last thing would be to put a new operating system on it. And I also have OS X Tiger on a original packaging here. I just inserted it into the machine, but the drive sounded like it is not liking this disk. I was already panicking about it, but later I discovered that the optical drive here can only read CD-ROMs. Apple was pretty cheap there. Well, and then I have a problem. I only have OS X Tiger on a DVD here. And also my backup disk is also a DVD. But then it came to me. The eMac did have a FireWire 400 port. So I can put it in the target disk mode and I can bring my 12-inch PowerBook G4 here and just clone the hard drive. And yes, you can hook up both of the Macs with the FireWire 400 cable here, and the PowerBook does recognize that an external FireWire hard drive has been found, because the eMac in the target disk mode is essentially a bigger external hard drive here. And then I wanted to clone the system hard drive of the PowerBook to the eMac's hard drive here. But I quickly discovered that I'm an idiot and that the OS X Leopard operating system is not compatible with this eMac here. So I did bring out my iBook G4 here, where I actually thought there is OS X Tiger installed on it. But sadly no, there's also Leopard installed on it. But then I did it pretty easy then. I just partitioned the hard drive of the eMac to have a 5GB partition, and I just copied the OS X Tiger disk on this chunk of the hard drive through the DVD drive of my iBook. Well, this was working. And here you can see it's the iBook that is going with the FireWire cable to the eMac to copy the files from the DVD to the partition on the eMac here. This is something I find pretty good about these old Macs here. And even my guinea pig Schröder also wants to check if everything is working. After that the iBook has copied the installation disk, I can start the setup on the eMac then. And I just clicked everything through that the installation can begin. And after about 20 minutes the eMac has restarted and did booted in OS X Tiger. And there's also the welcome video here. Well, this is a nice welcome video here, but honestly I find the one from Leopard or from Snow Leopard a little bit prettier. Then I just clicked everything through, but there's something about registration, but you don't have to fill out that chunk. Well, to skip that part, you just have to press Command and Q, and the setup lets you through that. Well, I'm always setting the username to user on all of my computers that is going into my collection here. And also I'm not putting in a password in it, because who the heck is going to steal this heavy eMac here? And voila! The Mac is now finished. Okay, and with that, the eMac here is finished. The eMac here was produced between 2002 and 2005 and was mainly produced for education markets, but because there was high demand for these machines, it was available for everyone. I only have here some German prices here, but at the beginning it has cost about 1,391 euros. But seeing the inflation rate here, we have an up-to-date price in 2025 at about 2,155 euros. So, well, this is quite a steal. But sadly, they don't really have much success here. Because when we are looking at the other prices there, you can actually get an iMac G4 system for 200 euros more. And the iMac G4 can configure to have a DVD drive inside it, and in the base configuration they already have a CD burner inside it. And this was quite a big deal back then. And also there's the thing that the iMac G4 is lighter because it doesn't have a big and heavy CRT inside it. And hey, the design of the iMac G4 is legendary. You have to be honest, it is really legendary. And the eMac was been scrapped and was replaced with the Mac Mini and the iMac G5 at that point, because the LCD technology was then cheaper, and also the old CRT tubes here, there was also phasing out there, so the production has ended pretty soon then. The eMac was just like an iMac, its bigger, heavier brother. It was neat, but it wasn't really it for this time. Well, but I have a new computer here for my collection. And I'm trying to also restore the other two Power Macs that I have here, what I have told you at the beginning. So I would recommend that you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on these videos then. And well, there's nothing here standing in my script here, so that was it for me, and we see us in the next video then.